Welcome to Designing Hollywood Podcast Home Edition. I'm your host, Allyson B Fanger. Designing Hollywood Podcast is dedicated to all things movies, the movie industry, and its talented professionals. Our guest today has designed some of the most iconic 90s grunge music videos, to Sofia Coppola's first two films, to Showtime's Twin Peaks revival. Also, she naturally became a go-to for bands including R.E.M, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Smashing Pumpkins, Stone Temple Pilots, No Doubt, and Nirvana. She even put Kurt Cobain in that iconic green cardigan for Come As You Are. We all remember that so well. With a knack for thrifting and a social circle that included many of Hollywood's promising indie directors, she naturally moved onto film, working with the likes of Coppola, Michel Gondry, Todd Haynes, and Wim Wenders. She is behind some of the most authentically cool looks you've ever seen on screen. Her credits include Lost in Translation, Virgin Suicides, Little Miss Sunshine, and most recently, Promising Young Woman. She has worked in Hollywood since the mid-'80s, scoring her first gig at Nana, a punk clothing mecca and a destination for stylists who need to outfit bands for their music videos. She is someone also that I'm a huge fan of, as her work is so incredibly outstanding and nuanced, and I'm constantly inspired by her. Please give a warm welcome to costume designer Nancy Steiner to the Designing Hollywood podcast show. Welcome, Nancy.
Hi, Allyson. Thank you so much for that lovely intro.
Yeah, as I said before, I'm such a huge fan, so I'm really excited to be talking to you today.
Thank you.
We know that you worked on music videos to start out in your career, and you eventually moved on to movies and then television, working with famously opinionated indie directors. How did you decide to make the switch from music videos to movies?
Well, at the same time that I was designing for videos, I was also assisting on films and other things. I actually, in 1998, the first film I worked on was I'ma Get You Sucker, directed by Damon Wayans, or not Damon, yeah. Damon Wayans? Oh, sorry. Sorry.
It's okay.
It was Wayans' family.
Yeah.
And I was an intern on that. My friends were producing it. And so I said, please, I want to work on a movie. I had never done it before. I had been assisting doing photo shoots and commercials with other people. But I did want to get into film. So I was doing that at the same time I was designing videos. Mm-hmm. And then that just grew. And, I got my first offer to work on a film, which was with Todd Haynes doing Safe.
Wow.
And that was 93, I think.
Wow.
So, that's just, I had been assisting, like I said, at the same time as I was keying to just get my, know how to do things. And on I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, the supervisor, Sharon Rosenberg.
Oh, Sharon. Oh, my God. R.I.P.
Yeah.
Loved her.
Wonderful woman. And she taught me how to work in a truck, how to do a breakdown. She was a wonderful teacher. And really, now that I think of it, the only person that really mentored me in any way. Mm-hmm. She brought me on to her next film, which was Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh my God.
I was a set costumer on that, and also on Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Oh my God, amazing. So iconic.
Yeah. So I was a set costumer on those.
Great.
At the, in between.
In between doing music videos and... Mm-hmm. Were you still working at Nana at that time, or you were like, that was...
Oh, no. I worked, I'm a little older. I worked at Nana from 1982 to 1985. Oh, so wow. I had not started doing costumes yet.
That's
it
so
was
cool.
Really the late 80s that I...
that's how Lou Eyrich also started, was by working at a vintage store in Minneapolis. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
cool. She worked at Ragstock and did windows, and it's a great way to get
Yeah,
to
well,
know.
and that's how I met some of the stylists that were coming into the store back then, and
Mm-hmm.
a few of them had said to me, if you leave here, you should come work for me. You have good style.
And you were like, yes, please.
Well, I really didn't know about this work. I went to not FITM, oh my God. I went to Los Angeles Trade Tech here in LA to study fashion design.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was interested in. I thought I wanted to be a fashion designer, but when I got out of there, I was working at Nana as well. And I was designing a few things for the store, but the school really just geared you to go downtown and be a pattern maker or work in a showroom or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was not for me.
You're like, no.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And I realized when I started assisting that I really liked this work, and fashion just was too fashion.
Yeah.
But I'm not, I wasn't into being competitive and having to do the newest and the coolest every time, you make a line and the pressure.
Yeah.
So I just segued into this.
Yeah, it's so cool. I mean, I was the same. I didn't even know this was a job. And someone was like, "You should be a stylist," and I said, "What is that? I don't know what that is."
Yeah.
And then I started doing it, and I was like, "Oh my God, yes, this is what I should be doing." You know. So
I know.
Amazing, but that's cool. I think that's a good way to get into it, right? It
finds
you kind of
like. I mean, it worked.
Yeah.
Worked for me.
Yeah, sure did. Okay, so Lost in Translation, Virgin Suicides, or Nirvana videos, you created some truly iconic looks, as we have said. Where do you look for inspiration?
Oh, I find inspiration every day. More when the pandemic wasn't happening, but I am inspired. I love people watching. That is one of my favorite things, and I'm always so flabbergasted by how people dress sometimes and what they're portraying to the world. And, I see people all the time that you're like, if I copied this and asked, to put it in a film, no one would ever let me do that. They'd say, no one would ever dress like that, but they do. And I love that. I mean, art is a huge, huge passion for me. I love art. I love films. I love music. And I love nature. And nature is really inspiring for me, and not necessarily, that, I want somebody to look like a flower or something, but the colors, the textures in nature are just, they're deep in my heart,
Agree.
So I'm just, I think it's really important to be aware of your surroundings all the time, because you never know what you're going to see. Yeah.
Are you a secret picture taker of people on the street, like so many of us are?
Definitely.
The best.
Most definitely.
Because then you can be like,
pictures from my car when I see some, I'm sorry, but crazy homeless people have the best outfits.
I know.
Right?
Yes.
And I'm like stopped at a stoplight in my car. I'm like, oh my God, look at that lady. Get the phone really quick. The light's still red.
I know.
Yeah.
When I'm asked to do a homeless person, I'm always like, can we just get a real homeless person? Because they really look so much better than I could do on that. Or get someone who, already has done all that.
But no, you never know.
It's a nuance. For like your super iconic people, do you kind of find a muse or something, or do you sort of create from your own wheelhouse?
I mean, it depends. Every project is different.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you mentioned Lost in Translation, for instance. I don't know that there was anyone I was trying to emulate with those characters, especially for Scarlett's character. she at the time was only 18 years old. She came to Tokyo with her mom.
Oh my God.
And you know, at that time, she dressed. She wasn't so stylish. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, was that her first thing that she? Was that her first big?
No.
She was a child actress, right?
She was in Ghost World, and there was a horse movie I forget the title of that she did. But no, she had worked before that.
She was young. She was like a child actress. That was dumb.
Yeah.
But she was young. Her style was
young, but she was portraying a married woman.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right.
So, you know, she was meant to be at least in her 20s.
Right.
So we just had to make her a little more sophisticated. And
so it was Sofia. So she's got such a strong aesthetic to her. Yeah. So, of course, we just watched, by the way, I watched last night because I was talking to you today. I had never watched The Virgin Suicides, and I was like, I've really always wanted to watch it, and so I decided to watch it last night, and my daughter watched it with me, and we just loved it. It looked amazing. I mean, oh my God. So I know you did that also with Sofia, so what a cool
opportunity. I mean, what a great story, what a great cast. It was the 70s. I knew it like the back of my hand, you know. we grew up in, right? Yeah. So, I mean, that was, I knew it so well. Even though it was supposed to be the East Coast, it wasn't, I grew up here in Los Angeles. So,
oh, you did? I was going to ask you that, yeah.
Yeah, so I know, and I grew, that 70s was my time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I really knew it.
Yeah. The prom dresses were unbelievable. I loved, was it all the exact same fabric and the same pattern or what?
Well, it was amazing. I found this fabric at the fabric store in 3 different colorways, 4 different.
Oh, that's what it was.
Blue flowers, pink flowers, and yellow flowers.
I could tell it was a little different, but it seemed so I couldn't quite.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So my idea was that, you know, the mother made those dresses for them, and she got a pattern, and on the pattern is your sleeves can be like this, or your sleeves can be like that. That's how I looked at it.
I love it.
And that's how I designed them.
And that suit, I'm forgetting his name, Josh Hartnett played.
Yeah,
the suit when he got shot in the car, I was like, I died.
I was like, I have to make him a burgundy velvet suit. He has to stand out and be slick, you know.
So hot. Yeah. And that was really amazing. Worth it. Whatever it was, because I'm sure you didn't have a lot of money. And whatever you had to then, invest in that suit was worth it. It was fantastic. Okay, I'm kind of getting off base here, but sorry. So we already talked about how you got your start in the industry and how you figured out what you wanted to do, which was something we wanted to talk about. So also, what are some of the most enjoyable memories for you in terms of films that you have worked on?
Wow, I've had a lot of great experiences, I have to say. I mean, Virgin Suicides was an incredible experience we shot that in Toronto. And there were some painful things on that movie as well, but I love being with Sofia and working with her because she's got such great taste, and I knew that was going to be, it was going to help. Some of her family was there, her cousin was there, we became really good friends, and just all the actors and Kirsten, we had a great time together as a group of people. Another one, Little Miss Sunshine, was directed by 2 very dear friends of mine, Jonathan Dayton and Valerie Faris, who I actually met in the early 80s. When I worked at Nana,
oh my God,
Jonathan worked across the street at the vintage store called Muskrat.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
So I had been working with them since the early 90s doing music videos.
Mm-hmm.
And, they'd wanted to make a film for years, and it finally came together. And so working with them on their first movie and with the great cast that we had, it was a joy. It was a joy. I mean, and then, again, you work on a movie and you have no idea what's going to happen with it, but that became a huge hit, and we had no idea.
Huge.
No idea.
Well, you had a great cast, and Abigail Breslin was just...
She was she's incredibly talented and professional for a girl her age. It was really remarkable. Mm-hmm. Toni Collette is a dear friend of mine to this day.
Oh, wow.
And, I made some really great contacts, or, met some really great people on that.
Yeah. I forgot Toni Collette was in that. Yeah.
So, that was fabulous. I also, one of the best experiences I ever had is on a movie called Paul that most people haven't seen. Mm-hmm. But it was Simon Pegg and, oh gosh, see, I'm so bad with names, and this is how my head goes these days. Nick Frost. Uh-huh. They, from Shaun of the Dead. These two comic actors. Mm-hmm. And Greg Mottola was the director, and the UPM and the line producer, all fabulous people who were in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Wow. I just had a great time. The movie didn't do well, but it was one of the best experiences I've ever had.
Yeah. And shooting in Japan must have been quite an adventure.
Very challenging.
Yeah.
Very challenging. I mean, again, that was an amazing experience as well. To work with Bill Murray, who I still have a crush on to this day. It was amazing, but it was really challenging. And when I went, originally, they said, you're going to go, we're going to hire you people there, it's going to be fine. And the way they do it there, or back then, was they hire a stylist, like assistants don't work by themselves. So you have to hire the stylist and their two assistants. Well, I got there and basically, I said, okay, let's meet at the office at 9 a.m. tomorrow. And there's a car comes with a girl in it. And she says, oh, no, we're going to take you to the other stylist's office. I said, okay. Well, the other stylist didn't speak English. Oh I had a girl who was an interpreter for me, but she wasn't an interpreter. She just happened to be, she had been working in Los Angeles for Sofia, and they said, oh, she can be Nancy's interpreter, but she wasn't an interpreter. She just spoke both languages. Anyways, I get there. This woman has not read the script, and I see it's going to be a little bit of a thing. I'm like, okay, fine. Well, we're going to go out shopping. And at some point, I had my assistant call and say, where should we go? I want to get this character a really cool watch, like cool and modern and whatever. And I heard back, oh, you should go to Rolex or Gucci. He's rich. You should go there. Oh. And I said, that's not what I asked. I want to watch this cool and interesting and new and modern. Yeah. And I got back to the office. I said, this is not going to work, you guys. Oh, no. And I was lucky enough that I called back into the States to Anita Brown, who had worked with me on set before. Mm-hmm. And I said, Anita, can you get on a plane to Tokyo tomorrow? They thought that these girls that didn't speak English would be working on set with Bill and Scarlett. And I kept saying, you guys, how does that work? oh, well, they all have interpreters. I said, do you know how long that's going to take?
Yeah.
Every time I say something to the interpreter, they have to say it to them. Then they have to think about it. Then it goes back to the interpreter. I mean, it takes forever.
No, that's crazy.
I said, it's not going to work, you guys. I'm telling you now. And luckily, they listened to me.
Yeah. That's
and Anita came. And the two of us did the movie. I mean, we basically supervised and
did everything.
Work set. And I had two lovely Japanese girls that helped with the extras, and telling me where to go and taking me to the costume houses and stuff like that. But
incredible.
They couldn't work with the actors. They didn't speak their language.
That's an incredible feat. Wow.
So,
well, it looked amazing. So, you never know what you're going to get. And
never know.
And I think that was, what year was that? Like what year was Lost in Translation? 2002, so early.
Yeah.
I mean, now you might know better to be like, that's not going to work before you got to Tokyo.
Right. But, I mean, I was trying to be, the good,
totally,
the nice worker, and okay, I'll try. I'll try.
Yeah, you did.
I'll try. I want, but.
Yeah. Well, thank God Anita came and saved you.
She saved my ass, for sure.
Good. Okay, so this is a big question. Can you roughly explain to us how you explore a character through costume design? Every designer is unique. So can you walk us through your process?
Sure. I mean, again, each character is so different, and it really depends. I love doing research when that's available to do for period, or if you're emulating a character that's based on someone. Obviously now I'm on the internet a lot. I go to the library, I look through books, look through paintings, all of that stuff. But then I really like to get some kind of backstory from a director, and either, if they don't have a backstory, make something up so that I have a place to work from. Mm-hmm. Because you want all those little subtleties about your character to show, either show or affect the actor in the costume. So the way they feel in the clothes, and the way it makes them move, all of that stuff. I like to give each actor something that they find would be personal to their character. So I always ask, do you think they'd wear like a high school ring, or do you think they have a necklace that was given to them by their mom? Or so we make up a little story about accessories or something in their pocket, something like that, that grounds them into that character. Mm-hmm. And makes them feel this is who I am, Mm-hmm. That's really important to me. I like those tiny details, and I always like to ask the actors about those kind of things, and what do they think their character would have, mm-hmm. that is something precious to them, mm-hmm. so that they feel like, there's love, or whatever it's meant to be. Yeah. Or
human details, things mm-hmm. that we all have, that you just, mm-hmm. it puts layers to your character. Really, yeah. But it shows, all of that thought and detail, And then do you go further with your process? So you talk to your actors, and then do you usually bring them forward, depending on who it is, like the actor also? I know you work with obviously the directors, right, or the showrunners, or whoever, but
I like to try and have a conversation on the phone with the actor before they come to the first fitting. We all need to make sure that we get them the right undergarments, and do they have problems with their feet, and what kind of shoes, and these kind of things that mm-hmm. are going to help them in their acting. Mm-hmm. So I do try and speak with them ahead of time. And then, when we get in the first fitting, I mean, sometimes I'm able to send them stuff, but it usually feels like it's the first fitting where they actually see what I'm thinking about and what I've talked to the director about.
Yeah.
That first fitting is a lot is revealed, and it's usually the base, okay, we're going to try on these things and see what silhouettes work best, what colors work best, what textures, and then and then hopefully you have time for a second or third fitting. Sometimes you just have no time.
I know. The second fitting is always I always say the first fitting is like
getting to know ya. First fitting is getting to know ya. Second fitting is where you do the real work. Yeah.
Looks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree. I know. It is hard with, I know. I've been told my friends that are working now during COVID they said there wasn't going to be late casting, but there's still late casting.
Oh, there's still late casting.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but production and they don't realize how our job has changed. And
COVID, you mean? Or yeah. Oh, really?
I mean, the few projects I've just done commercials in COVID so far, and they could care less.
They don't want to hear about it. They just want you to do it. Just do it.
Yeah, just do it like you usually do, right?
Yeah, that's difficult. Well, hopefully it'll be over soon. Okay, so going back to Nirvana, the green cardigan, which now Kurt Cobain is so closely associated with. What was that like working with Nirvana in that time period, during that, gosh?
Well, I can't, first of all, the green cardigan, it's not like he never wore cardigans before, so I can't fully take credit for that was my idea,
Right.
We all back then dressed in thrift clothes.
Yeah.
Me as well. I basically wore 40s clothes exclusively for about 10 years of my life when I was young. And so working with them, it was exciting. At the time, I was living with my boyfriend who actually directed those videos.
Oh, cool.
Kevin Kerslake.
Right.
And so we had been working together doing videos, and then the Nirvana thing came along, and that was the second video, and the first video, Smells Like Teen Spirit, just blew up. I mean, it was huge, But I knew about Nirvana before. Of course, I was kind of a punk rocker myself, and was listening to all that music, and we were really excited. Kevin and Kurt had been talking on the phone a lot, and so that first we did first Come As You Are, and then In Bloom was the second one I did, which was the black and white. Those guys were lovely. Kurt was not in the best shape then. It's really a little sad. And I, I had known Courtney Love before this. Actually, Courtney went out with somebody who worked at Nana. And so I met her back then. And Kevin did the first video for Hole even before Nirvana.
Wow.
And I was there on that set. I didn't dress her, but I knew her and I helped with lighting and stuff. It was so low budget, And so we were all talking about Nirvana then, because they had just come out, and recording had just come out, and so we were all thrilled about Nirvana. And then Courtney was determined to meet him, and
she did.
Yeah.
Wow, that is wow, you have just been in so many iconic moments in your life. It's really incredible. And you're so, you're so well connected with the world. It's like really amazing. I think I met you I think I met you when you were in your punk phase, like a long time ago.
Yeah.
Way back when.
We met through
Kim
Timlin, right?
Yeah.
And right. So I worked with Kim on, she was on the Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She was assisting Mari France.
Oh my God, Mari! I forgot we all worked for Mari France. I worked for Mari France.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's, and I was, so Sharon, who I did I'm Gonna Get You Sucker with, was friends with Mari France and had worked with her before. And so she took me with her to Mari France.
Amazing. Mari France.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We all got training from Mari France.
We did.
We're all better for it. And how did you start working with Sofia?
I met Sofia through just friends that, I've been doing videos. I worked a lot at Propaganda Films,
right?
Which was a big video maker back then.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was around and worked with a bunch of different directors, and Spike was there and Sofia was there too, but I didn't work with her in that way. But I knew Spike, and I don't know, there was a group of us, and then they also met John and Val, and there was a group of us that every couple months we would go to dinner at Musso and Frank's.
Love.
And I think it was Spike and Sofia, Lance Accord and his wife Rema, John and Val, me, single girl, and another friend of ours, Neil, a couple other people. And I'll never forget, we were there at dinner one night, and she said, Nancy, I had no idea that you did that movie Safe. I love that movie. And I said, yeah, I did that. That was a few, years ago. And then she just, she said, I'm thinking of doing a movie. Would you be interested? I said, of course, let me know. And that was that.
Virgin Suicides?
Virgin Suicides, yep.
Amazing. That's so cool. Wait, Lance didn't shoot Virgin Suicides, right? He shot.
No, he didn't. No. He came to Tokyo and shot Lost in Translation.
Right. I need to rewatch that.
He wasn't directing yet. He was still just...
Yeah. I remember that. I totally remember that time period.
Yeah.
I'm still really close with Rema. We're really good friends. Rema Cordman.
Yeah.
Okay, so with Lost in Translation, we had a question about dressing Scarlett Johansson, which I think we have touched on a little bit, but I think specifically because you said she was young and that you were dressing her in a style that she maybe didn't totally understand, I'm going to guess, right? So, can you just talk about that experience and how you kind of got her to come around? Because that is very tricky.
Yeah, it was very different from the way she dressed. And I think she thought it was a little boring.
18-year-old girl. Yeah.
But, I think she trusted Sofia and Sofia's vision, and therefore she trusted me. And so it took a little finagling.
Yeah.
But eventually she came around, and
because
she wasn't fighting at all, but she was like, wow, it's kind of boring. Yeah.
But maybe as it went, she started to understand why it worked, Plus, she needed to be older.
Yeah, I mean, when she came back, and then the success of that film, then she got a stylist and became the Scarlett Johansson that we all know now.
Interesting. Once again, there you were at the cusp of changing. Seriously though, because that can be tough when you have someone who doesn't understand, but it's right, and you've had decisions, and you want to do your best to help them find their character. So that's what you're doing, right? So I'm sure
No,
that.
I've definitely had those situations where the director and I have one vision and the actor has another one, and you have to kind of say,
Yeah.
well, the director really wants this, so let's just try it and see.
Yeah.
You have to kind of
Yeah.
talk them into it sometimes.
Magic. So let's talk about Promising Young Woman, most recent, and you're just nominated for a Critics' Choice Award. So exciting, and I've heard a lot of Oscar buzz. I'm gonna just
that would be crazy.
So exciting and so worthy. So let's talk about this movie. So this twisted, interesting thriller revenge movie. What was your vision for these characters when you first started working on? What influenced your design and your ideas for these characters?
Well, I've said in other interviews that when I got the script, I thought it was so brilliant, but I imagined Cassie much darker. Reading her character on the page, I thought, she's depressed, she's stuck, she doesn't really have a life, she lives with her parents still. Mm-hmm. So, I was like, maybe she's, not caring very much about the way she looks, maybe she just darker colors, that kind of thing. No. I went to meet with Emerald, and Emerald said, oh no, I want her to look like Candy. And, she wanted her to look feminine and floral and frilly and pastels. And so that directive came from Emerald. I cannot take credit for it.
Wow.
Emerald is a truly talented woman. That script that she wrote is so fantastic. And I was so energized when I got the job because, just reading it, but, I knew that this was a different story that had never been told this way from a woman's point of view. Mm-hmm. And I knew that it would be possibly controversial, mm-hmm. possibly rub some people the wrong way. And I said, I'm in. I've done plenty of dark comedies in my career, and I really like them. I like stories where you don't know what's going to happen. And, the ending on this movie is just phenomenal.
Oh, wait. Oh, my gosh. I'm pausing.
Okay. So in dressing Carrie for the role, I just took that directive and went for it with the daytime wear, and realizing that, this was also a costume in a way for Cassie. She did not want to reveal what she felt like inside. And so she gave off the impression with her clothing that she was a happy-go-lucky girl, mm-hmm. in that way. Mm-hmm. And then would pick these, in my mind, she was thrifting for these outfits that she would wear at night to mm-hmm. go do her deeds. And, each costume was so that she would fit into each place she went. So we had the business bar in the beginning where she's in the suit. Mm-hmm. We didn't shoot at the bar in the end, but the second one was like a hipster bar, and I think she had like a leopard skirt and some stuff in her hair. She had a great leather jacket on, but of course we took it off because she was inside the apartment. And then, the other one I call the other one the Euro trash bar, where she's in the skin tight strapless dress.
That dress was something. I was just and
that high ponytail. that Danielle gave her. I mean, it was, you know, and Angie, who did makeup, she put like too much makeup on her. And, you know, the guy that she was with, I wanted him to just look real douchey, and like his shirt was too tight.
Yeah.
The bad leather jacket and the bad hat, you know. And that guy, that actor, had been in the first scene in the business bar in a suit.
Oh my God.
The same guy. And so that was his after work attire. He was in a suit, you know, after work. Mm-hmm. But this was his weekend cool look.
Cool.
So that was really fun.
You've not even recognized him. With the clothes made all the difference. You don't even know the safe.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was really cool how she never had a regular look. She just was like doing these costumes. Right.
Right. She wanted to fit in wherever she was going.
Yeah. And then that last look, the nurse, was really interesting. I thought it was interesting that you did the wig, the colored wig, just like, and I you know, remembered with Scarlett Johansson, you did the pink wig in the karaoke bar. Was that something you liked?
I won't say it was my idea to do the wig in Promising Young Woman. I can't take credit for that. Okay. But we wanted her to wear a wig for sure. Mm-hmm. And that, I think Emerald, again, loved the multicolor wig. And the outfit, we made 3 of those because the scene was violent, and so we wanted, you know, we had to have backup in case anything happened. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We weren't sure actually what would really happen in that room. You know, it was a very intense. It was, I think, one of the last days of the shoot, thankfully, that we shot that. But it was, you know, I never went in that room. I was never on set. Most people weren't. It was very intimate. It was very, you know, tough scene.
Well, it shows, you know, that kind of like intimacy of it being such an intensely private moment. You really feel like you're peeking on something that's so, I don't know. So it's just like, yeah, I love that. That sounds like a kind of an amazing experience for the actors too, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was somebody there, I think like a stunt person helping that.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, because they actually, you know, knew how long it takes to strangle a person. Like he held her throat for 45 seconds. Right. In the scene.
Yeah.
Or each take.
Oh my God.
Which is exhausting. Like it was a very, you know, obviously very physical, emotional scene.
Yeah.
And they did it quite a few times, I was told. And so there was somebody there guiding them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. Was that shot in Los Angeles or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, around this, I'm going to say, like, I think it was March, April 2019. It's been 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing. I love it. I loved it. It was so good. And I was like, of course Nancy did the costumes.
Of course.
Of course.
Well, Allyson,
so
it'll do everything. That's fabulous. There's tons of fabulous stuff.
So you said in previous interviews that you are big on supporting women in our industry. The project was written and directed by a woman. How does your experience differ do you feel like working with women directors and male directors?
To be honest, I think communicating with a woman is much easier. I feel like we can connect on emotional levels that I can't connect with a lot of male directors. And psychologically as well, we have a common bond because we are, you know, we all as women experience a lot of the same situations. I think, personally, I think women are much more, it's easier for them to collaborate and take someone else's ideas. I mean, this is just my experience. I can only say I've worked with Sophia, Emerald, and then Valerie as part of the team of Jonathan and Valerie. But I do feel like there's a sensitivity that most men don't have, and therefore there's more insight into a character. You know, and I just feel like, you know, some men's egos are just too fragile, basically, that when you give them an idea, you know, somehow you have to make it seem like it was their idea for them to do it sometimes, you know. So I do think working with women it's been easier for me. Just that you're coming from kind of the same world.
And a collaborative spirit, and like,
yes,
like you said, open communication, like
right.
to really like dig into the personalities and talk about characters.
Yeah, and not be kind of, I mean, I've been talked down to before. I'm sure we all have, unfortunately. And so, you know, I don't feel like the women I've worked with ever did that to me.
I did just hear a story recently, just although, and I'm not going to say who this was, but it was like costume designer and a woman director who, I'm just going to say this to even the thing right now, who walked out of a film because of the way she just was talked to by another woman. She was like, no one talks to me this way, and left before the first fitting of like a major.
The costume designer did?
Yeah. She's like,
well,
I don't know who it was, but like, she's very.
No, I've heard of some women that are very difficult to work with, and I've actually been asked to work with them, and I say no.
Yeah, it goes.
If they've got a reputation. I don't really want to work with people who have such a huge ego that they can't acknowledge that other people bring things to the table.
Yeah. We work too hard and too long hours.
Not worth it.
Thing of like, just no, not worth it.
So I mean, I know there's women out there that are difficult. I'm not going to say, but that's just been my experience thus far.
In general, I love working with women directors and women showrunners. Like, I just.
Yeah.
Like, so agree. And there's so many more now. So it's happening.
Yeah.
It's like exciting. So what was the collaboration with Carey Mulligan like? Did you guys collaborate on some of these looks for Promising Young Woman, or what was that like?
You know, I think my first fitting with Carey was like 2 weeks before we started shooting. I had about 3.5 weeks to prep this film.
What?
Yeah. She was out of town. And so she came, I think 2 weeks before. Maybe it was 2 weeks before. We shot the movie in 23 days.
Oh my God.
So, but Carey is magnificent. I just think she's a real actress. Yeah. And she trusted Emerald. And again, therefore, I think she trusted me. We had a lot of fun in the fittings, trying on a bunch of stuff and figuring out what felt right. You know, I had some things that were much younger looking, and we shied away from that eventually, you know. So, you know, there were things that Carey didn't want to wear that were like crop tops and things like that, which I get. So we just adjusted. But she was magnificent, and she, you know, she was gung-ho. She loved the script and was excited to do it. And so, you know, if I needed her to do a fitting on set, which I did quite often because we couldn't get it all done before.
Yeah. Sure. How many looks was that? It must have been like, do you remember?
I should know this, but I think it was either like 28 or 35, something like that. It was quite a few.
For 24 days of shooting or 23 days of shooting, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
So, we reused jeans and things like that, but most of the costumes were really individual and different from the others.
Yeah.
So, but she was just gung ho and wanted to do the right thing and wanted to do what Emerald felt was right.
That's amazing. What a dream. That's amazing.
Such a dream. Mm-hmm. Such a dream. And, we've all had those actors or actresses in our fitting rooms that only care if they look good. And I've dressed people, where you're not supposed to look good. Mm-hmm. Or I get a white shirt from the thrift store, but they want it to say Barney's in the back of it. And I'm like, you don't have that kind of money. Your character doesn't have that kind of money.
Yeah.
So she went there and she did what was necessary. And that's a true actor to me.
Yeah.
Somebody that can lose themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
I definition
know about it.
Yeah. By definition, that is what they should all be doing, right? But it just doesn't happen that way.
It doesn't always happen that way. So, I mean, she was fabulous. I work with her anytime. I think she's so extremely talented. And she's smart. She makes smart choices.
Yeah.
You don't see her in shitty movies.
No. It was interesting. When I first started watching, I was like, wait, who is that? Like, I had to because she looked kind of very transformed, And
she's English, and, so she had an American accent, which she did really well, I thought.
Yeah. Yeah. No, she was amazing. Yeah. The whole, obviously it really came together in a optimal way because it's such a good outcome. So congratulations again.
Thank you.
So we're coming to the end of the show. We have a couple more questions. What is your next project, or what do you have in the works for 2021?
Gosh, I wish I could tell you. I don't know.
I know.
It's so weird right now.
Right? So, okay.
I'm doing a commercial that actually was supposed to start this week that got pushed.
Okay.
With a director that I've been working with for years. And then I don't know. I really don't know. I've been offered to meet on some things that I wasn't so jazzed about, and so
yeah, you're waiting for your next iconic film. You're very good at finding your way to those, so I don't have any concern about that. Yeah. No, that's your resume is amazing. What advice would you give to anyone who is looking to get into the same field of costume design?
Well, my advice is that you work your way up, because I feel that my experience being a set costumer, being an intern, I even helped Kim do reshoots on a movie, and I was her supervisor for 2 weeks long ago. Mm-hmm. I feel that it's important to know how things work from the ground up. That's just my feeling. I know a lot of designers who never assisted and do phenomenal work. Mm-hmm. But to me, I'm a very hands-on designer. And so I think it's important to know how it works from the ground up. That's just me. Also, you have to be passionate about this work, because if you're not, it's just not going to happen. You have to be flexible. You have to be efficient, organized, and, be able to do things without being told. Understanding that, if I send you to the store to get a green sweater and they don't have any green sweaters, don't come back empty-handed. Come back and say, well, I saw this one maybe it's good. Well, maybe it's good. Maybe it doesn't work, but at least you tried. Or maybe you went next door to the store next door to see if there's green sweaters if you have time, but make an effort to do the best you can. And you have to, you've got to have it. I feel like when you work with people who are new to you, assistants or whatever, I can just tell if they're going to continue in this field or not because of the way their attitude. That's another thing. No attitude, no drama. That is a waste of time for all of us.
Yep.
The most important thing, one of the most important things, is getting along with your crew and being able to work as a team. It's a team effort.
Yeah.
I cannot make this happen without my team.
Totally.
And I will never take credit for making it all happen myself. It doesn't happen that way.
No.
So it's a team effort, and you have to work in that capacity and be able to, if this person bugs you, okay, well, sorry, but you're on a team together.
Yep.
Find a way to work around that
Yep.
makes sense and doesn't create tension in your office, in your workroom, whatever.
Yep.
Because that is the worst feeling when you have to work with people that are not 100% on board.
Yeah, it's toxic for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's like you're already expending so much energy just trying to get this work done. It's just so counterproductive. I could not agree more. I'm happy you brought that up for people that are looking to get in the business. It's so important to be supportive of one another, respectful of everybody's jobs. I find that sometimes where certain people don't understand what other people do, and they're like, well, they're not doing anything. I'm like, well, yes, they are actually, because I also came up through all the different levels in the department. So I do know what happens on set. That's important because sometimes people are like, well, that's not people that sit all day. It's like, no, they don't. They have a lot to do. So you have to understand everybody's jobs and just respect it,
Yeah, respect is a big one.
Yeah.
I worked with an assistant designer recently that thought it was below her to take tags off of a shirt. And so taking the tag off a shirt and handed it to my background costumer to do it. And I just was like, why are you doing that? Well, those tags need to be taken out. I said, do it.
Yeah.
And I took some of the shirts and I started taking the tag off myself because I am not above doing anything.
Agree.
You cannot work for me if that's the way you feel.
Yep.
I will, and for me, I'm one of those, I cannot sit down, I cannot sit around while everybody is working around me. I like to be part of the process. I like to help, and I like to do things to get things done in an efficient manner.
Yep.
And if I've got time, I'll take those tags off. I don't care.
Yeah. No. Me too.
So I don't go for that, I am better than this person in the department. Nope.
I don't know anybody who's like that much, really.
Oh, boy.
You're out there. I haven't been exposed. They
are. I've worked with a few of them and had to fire them, actually, because
not a great.
I don't play those games.
No.
I'm not better. I'm not better than my ACD. I'm not better than my supervisor. I'm not better than anyone. No. We are all human beings. And it's about working together to make something happen. I don't care what your title is.
Right, exactly. This is good. This is good advice for the viewers. A lot of the viewers of this podcast are students. Mine students. So this is good. This is gold, you guys.
Good.
So where can our viewers follow you on social? Are you on social?
I'm on Instagram at Steinerama.
Okay.
Is my handle.
Steinerama?
That's really it. I mean, I have a profile on Facebook. I don't go on Facebook really very much. I'm not on Twitter. I'm kind of I'm a quieter person in that way, but I am on Instagram.
Okay. Well,
that's the best way.
Follow at Steinerama on Instagram. Thank you to the Designing Hollywood team and producer and founder Martika Ibarra, co-founder Marilyn Vance, our host Nancy Steiner for coming on the show today, and congrats again on your Critics' Choice nomination. It's very exciting. Thank you to our sponsor, Gardena Cinema, the only old-fashioned single-screen standalone neighborhood movie theater still in operation in the Los Angeles area. Wow. Owned and operated by Judy Kim and the Kim family since 1976. Interesting.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. And thank you to all our viewers for tuning in. Be sure to follow and to subscribe to Designing Hollywood podcast for past and new episodes, and on YouTube, iTunes, and all podcast platforms. Also now available on Amazon and Siri voice search. And you can follow me on Instagram at Allyson Fanger. And that's our episode. So thank you again, Nancy.
Thanks so much, Allyson. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, I hope I see you soon.
I know, in person, right?
Yeah, that would be nice. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you to our sponsor, Gardena Cinema. Gardena Cinema is the only old-fashioned single-screen standalone neighborhood movie theater still in operation in the South Los Angeles area. Owned and operated by Judy Kim and the Kim family since 1976. Gardena Cinema has been able to transition to outdoor cinema in the parking lot for an intimate drive-in experience, and has hosted movie shoots, music video shoots, and still photo shoots for an authentic vintage-looking location. Thank you to our viewers. Be sure to follow and subscribe to Designing Hollywood Podcast on social media, and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Deezer, and the YouTube channel for complete past and current episodes. Also, we're now available on Amazon and Siri voice search.